This is Sweet Salon Video News Roundup, and you're watching the top 5 things making the news in Sierra Leone this week. So the coolest thing happened this week. So BBC reported that Afro-Cubans traced their roots to a very, very small village in Sierra Leone. And what's really cool about this story is that one Australian woman go Cuba, he basically just they observe Cuban customs them, and she came along across this group of people, and basically in a small town, and they are descendants of slaves, and they had like their own way of dancing and singing in a certain like specific language. The lady didn't know what language it was, but she kind of knew that it was like a West African dialect. So she basically traveled to West Africa and like was asking around, and eventually she came to this village in Sierra Leone called Makpangumba village. I don't say I don't spoil the name, but still. And so he play the music, they sing them, and they dance with the people them in they do na Cuba for the people that we meet at this village. And the people there were like, those are our people, that is our language, and those are our songs. And the language is even like now almost extinct, like they don't even use it, but the songs they remember. And it's just so fascinating because it was like 170 years ago that somebody from Sierra Leone was taken as a slave to Cuba, and that their ancestors can come back to Sierra Leone and meet these people in this village, and that they can come together and actually sing and dance traditional songs together. It's just like, it's amazing. Like when I read the story on BBC, it just gave me the chills. So if you haven't read it, please check it out. Afro-Cubans trace their roots to Sierra Leone using song and dance. And it's fascinating. There's so much culture and history in Sierra Leone. The other thing that was making news in Sierra Leone this week isn't actually new, but it's a story that we started talking about last week when Lamran Abba shared on Facebook that 3 of NASSIT's top executives had been fired. That now is confirmed on the State House website, statehouse.gov.sl. Press release was published on actually on April 17th. That Sam Bangura Jr., who's the Director General of NASSIT, and the 2 other investment directors have been relieved of their positions. Now, Politico SL, basically, they tried to explain why this had happened, and they said that the chairman of the board of NASSIT, Jacob Kanu, wrote a letter to the president telling the president to fire these people. And apparently, Sam Bangura Jr., who's also known as Foggy, and the 2 other directors went to State House to see the president, and basically the president refused to see them. And they were waiting to see him. This is what Politico says now. They were waiting to see him. They didn't get to see him. And on their way home, or basically after this incident, they found out they had been relieved of their duties on the radio, which now the president is very good for this. Like, people constantly, like the way they find out they've been fired is like on the radio. So if you're a government official, take Temu. You don't know. Not policing radio because you don't know. In some cases, I'm not laughing at like, you know, people's misfortune, but it's just like the president repeatedly now he's done this where he sacks people on the, you know, you find out you don't have a job on the radio. But back to NASSIT. So NASSIT has been a very difficult and challenging management project for the government of Sierra Leone. This is not the first time there's been controversy there. A couple years ago, the Director General there and 2 other, and the Director of Investment were fired again for making bad investments, which is the reason that the chairman of the board, the current chairman of the board, gave us the reason why he said that the current director should be sacked. So yeah, NASSIT, it just turned 10 years, and it's supposed to be basically a pension fund for people who are in Sierra Leone and are working. And you know what happens is the government takes some of their money and puts it towards this trust, and over time when they get older, they're supposed to have a safety net. Now, so people like my parents should be able to at some point access NASSIT. But if NASSIT continues to make bad investments, which really at this point a lot of them have been bad. For example, NASSIT turned 10 in December, I think at the end of this year. Sam Bangura was appointed in 2009. Radisson Blu, which just opened, the 4-star hotel we were telling you about last week, is 80% owned by NASSIT. Sierra Fisheries Limited is 100% owned by NASSIT. Kimima Hotel is 60% owned by NASSIT, and after they bought it over very recently, NASSIT spent $5 million to refurbish the hotel. Bintumani Conference Center, NASSIT also took it over, and they apparently are spending $10 million, not leones, dollars, to refurbish the conference center. I don't know what kind of refurbishment they're doing that costs $10 million, but apparently that's how much they're spending. NASSIT also invested in the Seaview Estates in Godrich. And there's McKinney Plaza, which is going up now, and there are properties in Kenma. So NASSIT has basically been investing a lot in the country. But most of these investments, according to the audit that was done at the end of 2012, the Auditor General said that like a lot of the investments that NASSIT has made have been depreciating over time. So they put some money on businesses. Instead of the business they able appreciates for making payback to NASSIT, the actual value of the business and they go down. So yeah, we don't know what's going on at NASSIT. They really need to get that together. The other thing that was making the news this week is that the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kalfala Mara, who was previously the Chief of Staff, has apparently personally funded a strip of road the length of 60 kilometers to connect 2 different villages in Koinadugu district. When I saw this was reported on Sierra Express Media, when I saw this, I thought, wow, this is amazing. Kudos to him for doing this, of course. But then, because the article doesn't say how much the road costs, and we don't necessarily know how much of his own personal money he put into this, then you're wondering, like, where did he get the money? Is this his government salary? Like, maybe it doesn't cost a lot of money, but basically I saw this and I thought this is good, but at the same time I'm like, well, where did he get the funds to do this? The Chief of Staff, not the Chief of Staff, but former Chief of Staff, now Minister of Finance, said that he was inspired by the President's call to basically, you know, rebuild and construct the country. So that's why he did this, which is a good thing. The other thing that's in the news right now is that at the Smithsonian Museum of African Art, there are Sande masks on exhibit right now. So you can go see Visions from the Forest, the art of Liberia and Sierra Leone at the Smithsonian Museum of African Art for free. Now, if you don't know what Sande is a secret society amongst the Mende tribe who can be found in Sierra Leone and Liberia. So a lot of you have seen these masks. If you're from Sierra Leone, you definitely don't see Sande masks, and you wonder we can get like big lined in at the neck for show cut neck, and then the ear, the plant senki also like big. The cool thing that I found out from this story in the Washington Post about the exhibit is that the big forehead where can they pan the mask then for show intelligence and wisdom. So some of we don't can laugh say before them big, we know now what to make before them big. And also the rings around the neck, you know, say salon person, we always believe say person we get cut neck, that person a sign of beauty or the person fine. This confirms that's actually what the rings around the necks of the masks also mean, reflects inner beauty. So you can go see that for free at the Smithsonian Museum of African Art. The last thing that I want to talk about today that's making news in Sierra Leone is that the newly constructed Regent to Grafton Road is going to be named the Ernest Bai Koroma Highway, according to DJ Box, who posted this on his Facebook page. Now, we're really happy and excited that the road is finally complete, because a lot of us know that, like, many of us never even dreamed that something like this would happen in our lifetime, to be really honest, at the rate that things were going. But when, you know, I heard that it was going to be called the Ernest Bai Koroma Highway, I was like, anyways, but those are the top 5 things that are making the news in Sierra Leone and around the world about Sierra Leone this week. But of course, before we go, one last thing. Today is April 27th, 2014. It is the 53rd independence anniversary of the beautiful country of Sierra Leone, and I just want to wish me some people there, no matter how soon they, no matter what soon they do, I want to say happy independence, be safe, and have a wonderful time. sweetsalon.com